I wanted to use this video to share a little bit about the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth for leaders coaching that I offer. So the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth is an emotional and psychological safety training program. And this is particularly designed for those who are working in the leadership space, who are needing to manage and lead others. So it's very much geared towards the C-suite or to senior management level. And there's a number of parts of the program and the coaching program. And the first one is a EQI assessment. So we start off with a standardized tool, which is called the EQI, a series of questionnaires that gives us a very in-depth profile of your emotional intelligence abilities. And what's great about EQ is, unlike IQ, which remains relatively static until our aging brain starts to shrink and shrivel, EQ is something that we can develop and we can build on and we can continue to improve and increase as we age. So we use this EQI assessment to get an understanding of the sort of the foundational building blocks of your self-awareness, other awareness, self-perception, stress management, and ability to make decisions under conditions of stress. That last one, very important for leaders. So we get a nice 360 view of who you are in terms of your emotional intelligence. We then go on to look at the brain basis for the different motivational systems of the brain. First of all, for you as a leader, enabling you to increase self-awareness. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of emotional intelligence. And so increasing our self-awareness is a core task. And in the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth, we use neuroscience-based information and concepts around the motivational systems of the brain, how they play out in the body, in the mind, in the behavior, in speech, in interactions, in the workplace, in order to increase self-awareness. As we're able to increase our own self-awareness, we're better able to self-regulate. So there's a whole piece around regulating. Now, it's really easy to regulate our emotions when everything is relaxed and calm. We've had a good night's sleep. We're feeling loved. We're feeling respected. We've had a nice meal. Our tummy is full. So self-regulation, the real skills of self-regulation are: how am I when things are not as I want them to be? What can I do to regulate quickly, if at all possible? And then how am I going to be if it's not possible for me to regulate? How do I manage my red state when I'm psychologically or physically threatened? Because how you manage that impacts directly on the teams and the people that you lead. So then there's that piece about modeling and how within the social environment, emotion contagion and leadership is something that we must pay attention to, because how we are and how we show up in the leadership space trickles down into creating a culture of the teams around us. And the most important thing here is flexibility, responding flexibly. So it's not just about being this kind of leader or that kind of leader. I'm a confident leader or I'm an empathic leader. It's about flexibility. And I use the language of yin and yang. Sometimes I need to be yang, really direct, really firm. Other times I need to be yin, need to be soft. That will serve me best. So learning and practicing those skills of flexibility is also part of what we do. We can also look at very specific aspects of the leadership role. So for example, performance management, managing your direct reports, upwards, downwards relationships, where you sit in the hierarchies and the different relationships that you have, and how emotional intelligence plays out, and how the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth helps to inform you how you can increase your skill set in those different sorts of relationships. And there's a particular emphasis on listening, because that's so vital in terms of relationship building. Listening, mindful listening. It's a bit like active listening, but there's a little bit more to it. And also, how do I adjust my brain? What brain state do I want to activate in order to be really in that listening modality? And then there's a final piece, which is looking at the group setting and managing team energy, for example, over projects. So I've had great success using this, particularly within the tech sector, where the project management is pretty intense. Looking at how do I use the color system to manage the energy of the team over the course of a project to make sure I've got fresh, happy, calm, relaxed brains who are bringing their amazing ideas and their high quality attention to the game and to the project that I'm leading. The final piece is about mindfulness. Mindfulness is sort of sewn throughout the whole of the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth. But for those that are really serious, who really want to get into the training and into the self-development piece, it's knowing is not enough. Knowing is a great start. Understanding the concepts, seeing how they play out in the real world is a really brilliant start. But the real gains come when we can make a commitment to formally training our brains, because then you get faster and faster, and you get more and more nuance and more data. And the more data that you have, the more skillful you can be and the more flexible you can be. So there's a piece on mindfulness, and then some may then choose to carry on and do a little bit more of the formal focused attention training and training the attention network in order to then amplify all of that content that they've learned before. So if you are interested in this, you're a leader and you're perhaps managing a big project, or you're moving into a new role, or you've got a multidisciplinary team where you're thinking, gosh, I really need to up the psychological safety in this team, then the starting point is you, and the Dragon Way to Mental Wealth for Leaders may be something that you're interested in. And if that's the case, then drop me a line and we have a chat and we see if it's something that suits you, and see if we get along and take it from there. So I look forward to hearing from you, and if I don't, wish you well.